his mother didn't want to get into any more trouble because probably smoked pot.
There used to be.
You know, in his case, he lives in Hawaii. Someone gave him a sailboat. He runs he's a contractor, and it's good money. He flies helicopters.
Cool.
And my sister's mad because he's not flying. He doesn't practice Jehovah's.
Oh, yeah. My son's best friend's parents were Jehovah's Witnesses.
I mean, you remember last time you can use the roll you made.
Yeah, I had this one because haven't been down in the shop at all.
No.
Where's your finished piece?
I guess you want to see it?
Yeah, that's the whole idea of it.
Well,
You bring that, you brought some for showing down.
How many kids?
well, I was embarrassed to bring you something.
No, you're not gonna learn if you don't.
What do you mean embarrassed?
You don't.
All right, I made this, then I screwed it up.
They didn't know anything about those
So-
types.
You mount it back on and now you're making a ditch. That's what you do with them.
Or you could be like me and go through all sorts of machinations to get another piece of wood to fit in that spot.
Or you could stand it like this and you put a lid on it.
Hey,
You know,
okay, we're going.
So when you make these mistakes, just change it now. Just make it a flat ditch, take all this
Married
off.
this other guy who was an ex-con.
Turn this off.
What I do, his idea is the best one. But I'm crazy, so what I do in this case is I clamp it somehow and through my bandsaw, I cut her off flat.
Okay.
Cut her off, and then I'll probably at that point hold it on to my belt sander like that to make sure it's flat.
Right.
And then I just glue a big piece of wood on there.
She owned a place and she did.
And then I turn it again and suddenly, and it comes out really cool. And it's almost like I meant to do it, but it's always,
So you could put a different, so you could put a different.
different piece. It's better when you put like an exotic piece,
A different.
different piece of wood, and it makes it look like you meant to do it.
Yeah.
And it's fixed.
Actually, I like that idea.
Because
That's a very good idea.
I have the hardest time letting go.
Right.
When something goes wrong, I just can't let it go.
I agree with you.
So I do that stuff all the time where there's like a problem.
This one I didn't, this one I did right.
Instead of just
Fairly
making it
right.
small,
I didn't screw up that
I
time.
just laminate.
Yeah,
all sorts of wood.
No, that's not
It takes me
sure.
like
It's something, I don't know, I think I made it.
Say that.
Sure.
Yeah,
You don't need to.
no. This
Oh,
is, that's the one
See
you,
ya.
but I had problems with this, like,
You want to, don't.
tighten it too much, I did something wrong.
And she goes,
You know what I mean? Now it's out of, I was gonna say on the square, it's on around. So I don't know what I can do with that.
So there is a way to remount that.
Is there a way to remount this?
Yeah. So this is a pretty.
And then see if you can get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you put a finish on it, you could have went a little thinner.
Yeah, it was kind of thick.
I had my religion.
I mean, the sides are okay.
Yeah,
Your bottom's a little thick.
yeah.
I leave mine a little thick by mistake because I know you got a mortise in here, so my worry is like I
You
measure
want the
right.
sick
Right.
But this is certainly a, you sand the heck out of this and put a nice oil on there or something. Don't forget to sign your name in this hole.
All right. Okay, well, thank you.
So you take it, I showed it last week.
What can I do with that?
It's got a small crack coming in, which isn't the end of the world. So if you make a jam chuck, it's good for this.
Based on the religion, shouldn't it be great?
So if you put your drive center in the thing, your spur center,
Right,
So they call
and do something like this. So the spur center hits this,
right,
and your tailstock hits this. And
right,
you work like this
right,
between centers.
right.
All you want to do is true this up.
Okay,
You don't want to change it,
I mean.
bring it to that
I
measurement,
don't believe in those things. I don't
then you'll be
know
able to
what
grab
you're
it,
talking
and
about.
it'll be back to,
Just
it's
because
gonna
you
still
don't
be
believe
out of
that
round a
stuff
little
doesn't
right, yeah.
mean
but at least you'll be able to work with it.
All right.
But I think this piece is gonna check out, it's already checked out right there,
Okay.
And
and
she's
right there.
picking on me.
So this one's probably not
I
salvageable,
said,
but
that's it.
it's not bad practice to put it back between centers
And she can't figure out
like
why.
that.
Okay.
Fix the tenon just as a practice.
Yeah, I get it.
It's-
I mean, I don't think you'll be able to say this because.
Yeah, I can see the ground. Two of them.
And her.
I mean, again, you could make it a small dish.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
okay.
you could make it a little ring dish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just take this off right there,
Right.
this whole thing, just like that.
Okay.
But yeah, just put this between centers, but put a piece of something, even this will work,
Just using that.
to hold it.
Do I need any kind of adhesive or anything?
No, you can go between
Pressure.
centers.
There's a pressure.
Jam fit.
Because you don't want
All right.
Once it's finished, fix your tenon
Right.
and grab it again. Then I would probably say, just take 3/4, half an inch off
Because
of the
FCC.
and make it a ring dish. And then make it a little dish for a ring dish.
All right.
Because it's a pretty piece of wood.
Yeah, it is a pretty
These
piece
are
of
non-
But once you fix that, you can go out.
See that big old stack of wood
Yeah.
on the started bowl? Is that, it was just all messed up on that corner. I have to go real small. So it's just a bunch of different wood glued on there.
Who's next?
Right.
Is Fallon next?
And there, same piece of wood after I turned it,
Yeah,
turned a bunch of it.
It's funny as shit.
And that's just, I use a lot of epoxy to fill in voids.
Right.
Sometimes think like you're doing this, it's not always super precise. This one's so big.
I'm
It's hard to
surprised
get.
they buy them.
And then,
They want, he wants.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
where did it finish?
That's the.
It's done.
That looks nice.
So
Yeah, and it actually, like you said, now it looks like.
It looks
you
like I
put
meant to
there
do
on Purpose.
I kind of had an idea because they always, it's going to come out rounded.
How'd you say, I'll take a bandsaw and cut off like,
Do you have a grind? Do you have a bench grinder? Do you have a-
yeah.
Alright, so you don't need to cut it. You can just take it, have your bench grinder going, and hold it up against your bench grinder, and then you'll end up with a flat surface.
And.
Okay.
So you just want to grind it down so you can get to here, and then take a piece of wood and glue it on,
Okay.
and then, glue it on, and cut it so that you don't have a lot of big jagged pieces.
Right.
Glue it on, and once it's dry, then you can actually use your bench grinder and flatten it a little bit so you can get some of your sharper edges off. Then just remount it and turn it, and it's gonna turn right as if,
Okay, I'm
Like,
glad
I was
I've never seen
Last
that.
time I didn't bring
Never
it,
seen that.
I was embarrassed because everything looked so bad. I'm glad I brought stuff in there. Thank you guys, it very encouraging. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, when you have these, like, that's what we're here for. You bring that in, you always find a tip, like.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Right, yeah.
there's so many things that I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
you can make that a smaller ring dish,
Yeah.
make that, like you said, add a
It's
piece,
like, I'm
Right.
add a wall,
He was standing at the desk. I said,
Yeah,
something dark.
Different color wood really pops.
Somebody's.
right, yeah.
Take over somebody's.
And you use what, you use an epoxy?
It's a
Podcast.
regular,
Wood glue.
regular wood glue.
Regular wood glue.
He's like, what happened to all the?
There's what do we use?
Type bond.
Type bond 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Use three.
I stopped using 3 because it was moving too much.
While it's setting, you mean?
After over time.
Really?
Over time, it was getting, like, when I do the thing I just described, you feel it, it wouldn't be smooth anymore because it moved a little bit.
Really?
So you can feel the edge. I went to type on 2, back to 2, and it worked
Hey,
better for me.
good guy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Sure, now you show up, I got the damn thing already all wired. You could have shown us the right way to do it.
The right way is the way it works.
have to do it.
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time on it.
Not too bad, how you doing?
Go on, I always know how to fix it. You know, how to make it so-
Interesting meeting last night.
Turning, though, I just.
I was trying to get my point across, so I see who was gonna.
I always figure, well, you don't get it right, you just go outside.
No, a lot of people will just throw it in the fire.
Yeah.
When that happens, they'll just forget about it. Throw it.
It's
starting quickly. Just cut
Yeah,
the
right.
line with that.
The whole it was only 5 years.
You know, I had a hard time letting go.
Yeah, I know.
I have a hard time letting, like, just chucking a piece in the fire.
Right.
So a lot of times I spend way too much time and effort fixing it.
Yeah.
With like wood or epoxy fill.
Yeah.
Paul Grenier's gonna do Saturday. I'm gonna come in Saturday afternoon to close.
Oh,
And then, I don't know who's coming in Sunday morning, yet, and I'll come in Sunday to close, so I can take everything.
My daughter's, one of my best friends in school.
what else?
What day you wanna set up, when they get close to that.
I want to take pictures for the newsletter.
Oh, you want,
Can I?
yeah, sure, sure. Help yourself. Just don't put my name on it.
Chris! Hi. I didn't know what you needed, so I just brought my bowl down.
Brought mine.
Okay, so we use it. So here's what I'm
You know
thinking.
what I'm having a problem with?
I'm gonna mount this,
Newsletter.
talk about this.
Yeah, I'll
a
do
little
that.
bit.
See, it's
I'll
still
put
loading?
the worms too.
Yep.
I'll take off a little bit because I want it to fit in here, so I can hold it.
Yep, still loading.
Grind it.
I was on my car.
So just take
Whenever I have to, I never know when I'm doing mine, even if I'm using, I've got it was a platform from a cat tower
Oh,
that's got carpet on it. I set it on that and then I just do whatever I need.
So it's spinning.
So here's what I'm. Try this a little
So you
bit.
just need to take it just off
Take a little
the top.
Take a little bit off, put your tenant on.
I
Okay.
did that, and it's still there.
Still not gonna use it anytime. Then
So
put
that's
your
the
ring,
thing I
whatever
actually
you
tried.
whatever you do, your,
When I was.
Okay.
whatever you do to get.
Well, I've got the, because it's still flat, I got one wide open for what I can do with that.
Okay, so.
So I can show making it tenant, making the ring.
Right. Then we'll stop, show
So I
the, you
did
know,
flip
explain what you did.
Then we
Then we'll take the tenant
Okay.
off.
Okay.
Put it in this or something to hold it. And
And then I work.
well, I wanna know.
You wanna do, so
I
you
wanna know
want
how you
to
mark it, you know.
yeah, which I brought along.
Formula.
So you want, I'm gonna go ahead and take the tenant off
Take it off.
versus just leaving it in and then doing, okay,
You can explain that, you could leave it on at the
yeah,
point.
that's how I do it.
Okay, so explain
And then I
that.
turn around that and
So we're just not gonna turn
Or
around.
finish hollow.
So we're just not gonna turn
Right,
around.
okay.
So do everything, take the tenant back off.
Yeah.
Then we grind it. And here's
Yeah,
what.
so I can say, okay, so now that I've got this form, this got the tenant, you turn around, you hollow it out. I've been wanting to pick up one of those.
$11 on Amazon. Holy.
I need to get the name of.
Where do you
Find
see
it, look
this
it up.
thing go?
So, yeah, I can say, okay, so
Yeah.
now you turn around, you put on the tent, you put it in the chuck, you
Yep.
hollow it out. Oh, guess what? It's hollowed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm gonna take the tenant off.
Now we're gonna. and
Now we're gonna take the tenant off.
Yep.
and then-
Yep,
All right.
got it. Man eater. Ooh. I was making.
One of these days,
Walking.
you know, one of these,
Okay.
And that's
Go
why
on.
So make up some space.
one of these days, I'm also going to finish doing what I've been planning ever since I got this. Because on mine, I've got a 2x6
Shelf, yeah.
shelf with holes
Right.
Yeah.
Tools.
for my tools. I can put my tools. I can put these. I can- Yeah, I got like about 8 or 9 different things that are all right there. So it's, you know, just swap out which tools I'm using.
Good. All right, so Chris is gonna do basically, I'm gonna talk about the run through a little bit. Chris is gonna do the demo, and then I'm gonna do the.
We're doing a combined demo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, push it underneath. Put it underneath. Push it underneath.
Mike's here, we can start now.
All right, let's go. So, September.
I was kidding with that.
I don't know, we met.
I have been there before.
Yeah, he's,
My name is Leonard Nielsen, and I live in Jamestown.
Nice to meet you. I don't think we've met. I don't think I've met you either.
I'm Brian.
Brian?
Brian.
I'm John.
Brian is the ex-presidente of the Woodworkers Guild.
Oh, good.
Now the best newsletter writer you can possibly. I tried to hook him on a couple of times. He just won't jump ship.
All right, so September meeting, our checking account, we have $1,168 in checking. The CD that we maintain is up to $5,278. So we're doing good. We have 5 lifetime members, currently 34 paid members. So that's where we're at treasury wise. As far as old business, I don't think we have anything going on. Did we decide to buy something last
You
week?
got everything's in. Everything's in.
Everything, we got everything
Yeah,
in?
we're all good.
All right. So you wanted to talk about
Yeah.
the show coming up?
So Fine Furnishings, we've done this for the past couple of years. We have a 10 by 20 booth. We're working with the Woodworkers Guild, which is the other group that meets here. Fine Furnishing Show is like the best of the best. Very high end. We've shown some pretty nice pieces there. So we are gonna bring our lathe, which is in the hallway. So anybody's looking to volunteer, we're looking for people to come in, do a turning like maybe a birdhouse or a Christmas tree or a pen, something quick that people, because people will actually stand and watch for a little bit. And then if you have some really nice pieces that you want to display, John, you can. You can't sell them, but if somebody should happen to come up and say, boy, I'd like to buy that piece, you can say, contact me after the show. You can't sell at the show, just because the booth is, it's a donated booth, right? So it's an educational booth, so we can't compete with the people in the show. Obviously, you are selling $10,000 tables. They don't want to be losing business to your bowl. So people that man the booth just say, hey, we're from Ocean Wood Turners. We meet Cranston, blah, blah, blah. This is what we do. Here's how the meetings go. Just answer questions. If you want to hang out for an hour or half a day or, not even hang out at all, just show up. It's the Water Fire Building down Valley Street, correct. Yep, it's Friday night, the 7th, Saturday the 8th, Sunday the 9th. And I'll work on getting you there. I'll send the hours in an email, but it's a Water Fire Building, Fine Furnishing Show in Rhode Island. So if you want to volunteer, just let me know after the meeting or send me an email or whatever. I do have Ross is going to be there Friday night, so if anybody wants to work with Ross.
Is this in November?
November, yes, which is only about 5 weeks away. Paul Grenier is going to be there on Saturday a little bit. I'll be doing some Sunday. But if you want to hang out or just go see the show, it's I'll have some $5 off coupons or something, or $5 to get in. It's a good show to see. I mean, these guys that are there, some of you who have been, these are not guys that are making these $20 bowls that I sell. These are, $1,000 drawers and two $10,000 tables. And I mean, really, if you want to see some really fine work.
It's in Providence?
In Providence, yeah. I mean, it's worth the $5 all day long. Just even if you just go and amaze yourself at the quality of craftsmanship is just. I mean, it's up there.
November
Actually, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Last 2 years ago, Paul Grenier had a piece that he was displaying. It was only a small hollow form, and he won first place for most creative or something, or most, I forgot what the category was, but it was a pretty high honor to have someone from our group take that prize, and
More importantly, a Rocco gift card.
yes, and a gift card to go with it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's a judge, they judge everything, like I said, I mean, it's worth a visit, and if you wanna volunteer, just let me know, you'll get in free. Wear your shirt, you know, that's a little joke going around there, where they see all the woodworkers and all the wood turners, we all wear our shirts. So every time somebody comes in, it's like, oh no, another woodworker, there we go, yeah. It's like, they know, so, but anybody's interested, see me after the break or whatever, or email me later, call me, don't matter.
So Rick and Chris are doing a demo on feet on a bowl, make feet on a bowl, and use the worm screw and stuff builds. So that's about it. We don't really have anyone else to show. Anyone else brought anything in?
I forgot to bring my.
Right, so that big bowl.
Yeah,
So
no,
we're gonna bring that big bowl.
well, it's not ready yet. It's shaped and drying. I was debating on whether, I wanted to see how Chris put the feet on, because I'm thinking feet for that bowl. So yeah, it's not ready yet.
You got his permission?
I did, at the last meeting, I don't have it in writing, but I do have verbal confirmation that, in case you didn't know,
Did you shake on it?
Chris holds the copyright on putting feet, so if you're gonna entertain the feet idea, you do need written or at least verbal permission from the copyright.
It's not patented, so it's okay.
Provisional.
Video on how to do that.
Alright, I guess,
don't
you
need it.
wanna
This is
start
cute.
off with yours and
Yeah, all right.
then I'll take it from there.
Yeah. How many people have has anybody used a worm screw other than me and John? Pete, you do? You do? Everybody, so everybody's a little familiar with the worm screw? All right, well, we'll go over it just in case you're not familiar with it. Every chuck you buy comes with the handle to tighten it and a worm screw, and sometimes other attachments, but for the most part. And I'm sure I mentioned before, I always wrap my product in shrink wrap, which, you know, you just get them at Walmart in the moving section for like $8. It's like putting anchor seal on or something. It just keeps the wood wet, so it doesn't dry out and crack up. It's really a cheap way to keep your wood. If you're not gonna work, like I prepped this, I don't know, last week, so I turned this round on the lathe just to speed up the demo a little bit, and we're not gonna hollow it today because the demo is doing feet. So Chris is gonna show you the correct way to do the feet. But I wanted to show you if you don't know the worm screw goes in the chuck, and then you put a hole in the center, slightly smaller than the screw. And deep enough for the screw to go in. If you don't have a variable speed lathe, don't do this. You know, so I have a variable speed lathe and it's turning at, this one's a little high, 300, so we'll go fast. Just watch your fingers.
On low, if I've got the belt low, it gets down to about 50 RPM.
Yeah, I don't know why this one went so high, but I didn't.
Well, so you don't have it on the lowest belt. I think I've got mine down to about 50 RPM. Yeah, I mean, it even said, okay.
So then I just lock this thing, and then just tighten it all the way till the wood hits the jaws. And believe it or not, that's an amazingly solid hold.
You don't ever have to worry about it going in crooked at the beginning?
I always put in crooked.
Oh.
No matter.
Depends on how straight you drill the hole.
Yeah, so I'm a little crooked. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's always gonna be a little off. It's green wood for starters, but Chris is gonna true this up. This, I only prepped this. This is like putting it on the bandsaw, but I have a lathe. Why use the bandsaw? But, so now, when we make the first patch or two, it'll be true to the way we mounted it. But what he's gonna be working on is the bottom of the bowl, and you can work on the bottom without tailstock support. Your new turner, I recommend the tailstock until you get going. But, for what he, you know, if you're into like Paul's bowl, he didn't show everybody, but he uses a mortise. You're gonna use a mortise, you do your outside of the bowl, do your mortise, and technically you can finish the bowl right now, this half. So when you turn it around and using your mortise, you don't go back to the back. When you use a tenon, you gotta go back, take the tenon off. So there is a bonus to doing the mortise that way, because now you can finish your bowl completely. Even what Chris is gonna do,
But I don't think, I guess it could be possible to do the feet with a mortise.
not the way I'm gonna do it.
But, well, as long as you've got cold jaws to clamp it in, even after you've done the inside, because you're not gonna be able to completely do the feet like what I'm gonna
Well, you
do.
could take that.
Because you're only gonna end up with a wall like this, that's not gonna hold up under the pressure, other than the expansion pressure of the, mortise
Right.
requires in order to hold the wood. It'll blow apart.
So I wonder whether most could you purposely make
You could, as long as you made it wide enough.
make it wide enough for him.
Yeah, you could put a mortise in here as long as you left this like way out, but then you're not finishing the bottom.
Which defeats.
Which defeats it, because you've got to get this down to, and I'll show it on the bowl that I brought with me.
So the only thing that you can't do with the worm screw, and I think you've seen in many demonstrations when Roland talks about being between centers, if you need to make an adjustment, there is no adjustment. You're in the worm screw. There's no, that you can't change that. Same thing if you use a face plate, you can't change that. That's why you'll see a lot of people use between centers, because if you want to just like make this go just a little bit more, you can re-chuck it easily and many times. But once we're doing, like I said, once we got the screw in, that's it. If I put it in crooked, then you gotta deal with it. So Chris has to deal with it, actually. I don't have to deal with it. All right. We don't need a max.
Been shown already. But with a mortise, if you've made the mortise here, where the feet are going to be, because my feet are only this wide going outward, so they're just they'd use that and inside of this depression as the mortise, and then turning this, I got half an inch of wood and a ring around this. That's like, yeah, you're not going to use that for a mortise, because it's to then turn around and put it on the chuck using a mortise. This is just gonna, when you go to spread the feet out, it's just gonna blow it apart.
Gonna blow, yeah.
It'll blow. I've never tried it because I'm not willing to try it just to test my theory.
for science.
All right, so the way I came up with, and this was all self, I just like, okay, I wanted to do feet. How can I do it? So I just trial and error, figuring out how to do it. And I was, first off, I was like, well, if I get the ring, if I get this outer ring right here made, so all I'm doing is making bowl on this side and a miniature bowl in the bottom, in essence. I don't know if any other easier way to just explain it other than that.
How do you get the feet, the show up? I mean, how do you?
Well, that's what we're gonna show you.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're gonna show you.
Showing.
We'll show you the whole
When
process.
I actually normally, when I start all of mine, I do them between centers.
Right.
Even when I make the mortise or the tenon, I make the tenon
Right.
between centers.
Right.
And I just, that's how I do them. All right.
I just thought everybody wanted to see how the wood worm screw works.
Yeah.
It's not a bad holding device, but I always turn between centers as well.
I like having my shelf,
Yeah, well.
which I'll get made for this one in my copious amounts of spare time.
Yeah, right?
So when would you, like, you're making a bowl, would you have a mortise or a tenon, which is the other one to go with it, does it make a difference, or is it?
Say that again?
The mortise or the tenon?
Yeah.
For what's the advantages and disadvantages of each?
Since I don't do mortises, I couldn't really say what I would
I
say,
don't
you know, I
think
couldn't
it's-
give what
yeah.
You do tenons, right?
an advantage of a mortise over tenon. Everything I do is tenon.
All right.
But that again, as I already said, I wouldn't want to try to do a mortise. We don't make round bottom bowls. Ever since I came up with this and my method of doing it, this is my niche. Everything I turn, if it's, even, I've even got a pedestal for a vase. That pedestal is 3 foot. Even it's only this big, but it's still 3 foot. The reason why I like doing them is because in one respect, my bowls are better than anybody else's bowls here.
Yes, they are.
Anybody's. Because anyone that puts a round bottom should expect that eventually their bowl is going to warp and be a little wobbly.
Yeah.
I am the home of the unwobbleable. That is my own word, unwobbleable, because it will never wobble. No matter how,
Yeah, with
no
3
matter
feet.
how
it
much
can't.
this wood moves,
It can't rock.
it can't rock and
It's on-
can't wobble because it's on a tripod, which is inherently stable. I could have one leg this long and one leg that long and one leg that long, and guess what? It's still not gonna wobble. It might sit like this.
But to answer, just to go back for a minute, the difference between mortise and tenon, a lot of us, including myself, if you're turning green wood and you use a mortise, it'll work great while you're turning. But like he said, a month from now, that mortise is not gonna be round and you're not gonna be able to fix it because it's already moved.
Right.
The tenon, we're gonna remove it and we can reshape the bottom a little bit. I'm talking green wood. So if you're turning dry wood and you put a mortise, chances are it's gonna move ever so slightly and you won't recognize that. But if you do a piece of green wood, you can't remount that mortise after, even I bet you after 2 days, it would already be.
Okay. So
Already
I'm gonna
gone.
give a quick plug for our turning bed.
You do that.
Something that I just learned today. Okay. Pockets.
Yeah, they're in the back.
Yeah, there's one, there's this one, which is lucky it's got the flap on it, but then I was picking it up, and it's like, hey, they're in the back.
I'm
I
gonna,
never knew those pockets were there.
I'm gonna tell you another. After you get that thing like totally full of dust and everything, take it outside, hit it with the garden hose, hang it up for 10 minutes, and she's good as new.
I've got an air compressor in air.
Yeah. No,
I just
I
blow.
got mine so bad I had to take it out.
I won't say what I was gonna say about air and blowing.
Yeah, there you go. All right, stick to the demo.
Class.
Stick to the
We got
demo.
old guys here that,
Stick to the demo.
I'm just shaving it down enough for what he wants for this thing to fit inside of his How much did it need off?
Not much at all. It'll work. But if you need to get it round too, take off as much as you want. That's fine.
Well, because if I'm gonna be taking it, once I've made it, if I'm gonna take it off before you do it.
Yep.
Then there's nothing to be able to mount it back
Yeah, I'll
on.
go back.
So,
I'll go back between centers. Don't worry about that.
okay, well,
Don't worry
yeah,
about
because you could turn it around, go between
Yeah.
centers and
Yeah.
then hollow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not worried. You don't scare me.
I don't even keep this in mine.
Neither do I.
I just have a little screw. I got a little bolt.
Yeah.
I
No.
can pull it out when I want to pull this off, drop it in, keeps
Yeah.
the sawdust out of it.
My lathe has a swing away on it, so I don't even have to bother with that.
So I got all, no, I'm taking that off.
Take it off. Yeah. Do whatever you got to do. Don't worry about the piece.
Oh, it's dull.
I brought mine.
I didn't think about that chart, about checking it before I. That's probably why, as much as why I was getting on what's going on up here, because I was being dull. All right, I was gonna make a tenon, right?
Yep.
I was gonna make a tenon.
Yeah. Throw a tenon on there.
All right. Since we're not gonna be using tenon on it, right? So I
No,
can make
just-
a pseudo
just-
tenon.
A small tenon.
Yeah, I can make
Yeah.
a pseudo tenon. All right. I'll just pick it. I'll pick a spot. So there's my tenon. Now I'm making the, I don't know if you're catching it from this way, so
Ring,
I got my tenon on there. I got my tenon on, now I'm making the recess here, which is ultimately gonna be the inner bottom of the feet. This outer ring that I've got right here, that's where the feet are gonna be made. So I can play with the shape of how I want the feet to come into the bottom. How do I want to have them? Just have a straight line that goes from the side of the bowl straight down into the feet, which I've done on some of them. And I've made feet as tall as about this tall. So the feet were almost as tall as the inner portion of the bowl. Or you can come like on, if anyone wants to get a closer look at that. On this one, the bowl goes down and then it gives this little, like this. You can get it, you can do it so that the feet actually kind of go out on an outward angle. If you want, because you can take this ring and have it go into it from here and have the ring pointing outwards like this instead of being shaped like this. It can point outward, and then your feet, when you make them, you're gonna have feet that go outward. I try to think of, well, what if it gets dropped? Is it gonna be, if it gets dropped and lands on that foot, is it gonna snap the foot off? So I try not to do it that way. So we'll just finish shaping the side of this.
What is that, Chris? That's a mini hollower, mini carbide,
And then circular carbide, yeah.
mini carbide. Yeah,
This is the one I got at the auction,
Oh, yeah.
when we had the big auction.
Yeah.
So this is then where you can take this and go decide how wide, when the foot's on the bottom, how wide do you want the foot to be from inside to outside? So where's the camera at? So this point now, and with the ring right that I'm doing right here, I'm gonna just decide how wide do I want that foot to be right here. Real wide, narrow. You can make the inside of it, like on this one, the inside of this is curved. You can give it a straight, so I can use that one, my square carbide, to give it so it comes down and it comes in straight and it's got a sharp angle on it. Because part of the thing I also like, the reason why I like doing them is I can do a lot of different things with how the bottom looks and how the feet look, so that the bottom is just as artistically designed as the rest of the bowl. All right, so, So just squaring up the tenon to make sure it's got a little bit of that dovetail on it. I've actually got one of the triangular ones that I can use to really make sure I've got a good dovetail on it. And then I try to go ahead and get the bottom of this, the inside, because ultimately the tenon's going to go away. So I try to get this flattened out without, while still making sure I leave the flat surface where the tenon teeth are going to sit up against. should be good.
Yeah, that's enough. You can hold it while I grind it.
You got about 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We'll make it work.
Alright, well, I still got a little bit of fixing on that to do.
I didn't think I could actually, the way we're holding it, I could probably do it on a lathe.
Because
Talk about that next step in a minute.
it's flattened out now. Make sure the feet are flat.
It won't be when I get done with them.
And then I end up playing with, if I want to make the feet deeper, and so the feet are taller, because I'll go in, I've made feet anywhere from only 1/8 of an inch up to, like I said, about like this. I could still do this and take this area, dig it out deeper, as long as I leave the flat for the chuck jaws to come up against, to clamp into, when I want to turn it around to do the inside and clamp it into the chuck. Oh, that's why I was getting
Yeah.
a lot of that.
We'll fix that.
Leave that for you to take
Yeah,
care of. Okay.
absolutely.
All right, so this is now ready. At this point, I would end up just, I'd go ahead and do my finish sanding and get it all the way down, or set and ready to go. So it's then ready to turn around, put in a chuck, and then hollow out. Okay. So since we're gonna take off the tenon right now, I'd hollow it out.
Right.
Turn it around, put it in my cold jaws, and then go to take the tenon off. So we'll take off the tenon. enough for. Still got a little bit of a ridge there, but again.
Gonna hit that with the
take care of it
sander
later.
anyway, yep.
Yeah. All right, so at this point, it's ready to go ahead and come off.
Yeah, it'd be better if you take the screw up first.
Um,
I'll leave that on.
No, it's not, wait, it's not, I don't have this locked yet, sorry. So obviously, before I took the tenon off just now, the tenon's been made, the outside ring's been made. Put it on, hollow it out. You wanna make sure, one of the things, I didn't show this. One of the things you wanna make sure you do, too many people end up with funnels, making funnels. Because they are, I see it all the time in one or two of the wood turnings or something on Facebook. They don't measure their depth. So they end up turning through they've done all the outside, then they're hollowing out the inside and they don't know what the depth is. The next thing you know, they punched and turned through the bottom. So they've now just made themselves a nice wooden funnel. No reason for that to ever occur because there's a very simple, I didn't think about bringing it with me, very simple depth gauge that you can use, that you can make with just I'll just use this as an example, a flat piece of wood
And a stick or pencil.
and a dowel. Just a piece of dowel rod you can get from Home Depot. Drill a hole through with a hole that's just big enough so that you can get the dowel in, but it fits kind of tight. And then I use that, I use it on all of these because then I can measure. And you put it up on the bottom on the flat, push it until it hits the bottom of the inside, and there's your depth. Then I can take it over now. So this is through here like this, and there's my depth. Well, now I can take this, put it over here on the outside. And now that I've got this sitting out here like this, showing where the outside is, I can go, oh, okay, the inside depression comes right out to this point. So now I can go ahead and take my pencil and I can go, there's the inside of the depression. When you're measuring for the inside, you go, I try to make sure that, okay, that the thickness from when I hollow out the inside to the bottom here is the same as my wall thickness. So if I want to make my wall thickness 1/4 of an inch, then I just, as I'm hollowing out this side, I do the same thing with my depth gauge, stick it in and go, okay, the inside depth I want to give myself 1/4 of an inch, so the inside depth is going to go right to that point. So that's going to be my inside depth, because there's my 1/4 inch, same as my wall thickness I'm planning on. Then when I'm hollowing out the inside, I just I constantly turn it on and off, use my depth gauge and go, okay, put it up against the flat of the rim, measure it, oh, there's my bottom, until I get down to going, okay, there's my depth, and I can do that from the inside, pull it out and look at it and go, yep, I'm either right where I want it to be, or I've got to take a little bit more off, maybe another 1/8 of an inch, give or take. And I never go, I've never gone through the bottom.
That shows how inexperienced you are. I've gone through many bottoms.
I need to teach you how to
Everybody
use
goes
the
through
depth
the,
gauge.
yeah. Oh, I have one. Never used it, but I think I have 3 of them. I just like going.
It doesn't do you any good if
I
you
know.
don't use them. All right, so where's my pocket? There it is. All right, so we're at that. So now you turn it around, you put it on. You've been measuring. I've been using my depth gauge. I got my depth down to that point. Great. This is all hollow. It's ready to go. I take it off. Go. Okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and figure out my feet. And that's the camera's not angled.
Yeah, I can fix that.
Okay, so where did I put my?
More better.
That'll probably work. Now, because I'm a scrapper, these are my tools that I use for making my feet. This is probably one of the most expensive tools in my shop.
Yeah.
I'm a scrapper, so it was a piece of scrap. So I took it. This was just a scrap piece of plexiglass I had laying around. Gave it a center point. Started making. Did I do it on the blade? No, I didn't. I don't think I did it on the blade. I think I just did it with a compass. Scratched the circle in, made myself a whole bunch of half-inch, incrementally larger rings for 4-inch, 5-inch, 6, 7, up through 12-inch diameter. Put a little bit of highlight in a couple of them. Now I can take it, and can you see this on there?
Yep.
Well enough? All right. Now I can take the bowl and go, this one happens to fit just perfectly, so the 4-inch ring, the very inner one, fits almost precisely inside my inner recess. And then I took from there and I went 130 or 120 degrees. I just took from that, pick the line, scratch the line in, 120 degrees, put another 120. So they're equally spaced. Now I've done one bowl that my 3 feet were not in the same concentric ring because of the shape of the wood and piece that I was doing. It just didn't work. So I've got 1 foot in the, 1 foot in the 5-inch ring, here. Then this foot over here is in the 6-inch diameter ring, and this foot over here is in the 7-inch diameter ring. So they actually, but they're still 120 degrees apart. And because of, for this, on one like this, actually you could still say you might want to pick where your feet are going to be. I use the features of the wood. Maybe you want to have, maybe you want to have one of the feet lined up with this characteristic of the wood, or maybe you want to have that framed between 2 of the feet. So, like with mine, when you're doing a wing bowl like this, I always try to, when I started off, instead of having it perfectly centered between the 2 sides, I try to do it off just a little bit, just a little off center, so that I can end up on one side having some of the outer edge bark still as a thing. So that's the feature. So that's going to be either one. So on this one, I lined up this foot, the single foot, directly in line with it, or I could line it up so that the feet were like here and here, so that it frames it. So it's just kind of mad picking, because you can see, there's a difference between when you look at it this way with 1 foot, or when you look at it from this side, and you're looking straight on the side, you're looking at 2 feet, the 2 evenly spaced. From the end, it's always, because they're not at 90 degrees, it's always going to not be lined up with the middle. But I'm looking for that characteristic, either lined up or framed. So to decide that, just put the ring on it, and then rotate. I can just sit there and rotate this around and decide where I want this, how I want the foot to be. So where do you want?
I'm going to take them off.
You're
So I
gonna
don't.
take them off. Okay, I'm gonna pick. So I'm gonna pick right here to be in line with the foot instead of frame, since it's coming off anyway. So all I got to do is line up that line for one of the feet, have this inner circle centered between there. I'm going to put that like that. And then I drilled, so I put some holes in each one on those lines and each one of the rings, so I can sit there with a real sharp pencil and I can just go like this, and even.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let me see the pencil.
you can either do it, if I'm gonna do it from using the hole, I just need to make my holes a little bit bigger. Or you got any pencil, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be. I'll just mark them on the inside. So, or I can just reach up on here like this and go, okay, there's one of my feet. Here's one of my feet, and the other one is right there. So that's where my feet are gonna be. It's gonna be 1 foot here. That's the center line of the foot, center line of the foot, center line of the foot. Decide how wide I want the foot to be, 1/2 inch. The feet on this one are a little bit wider, they're about 1 inch wide. So then I just take a mark and go, I'm gonna make this foot about 1/2 inch. I'll go a little bit wider. About 3/4 of an inch wide. So I put an even mark from the center line out like that on all 3 of them. And then to help me as I'm grinding, I'm trying to make sure I do this so it's on the camera as well. To help me when I'm grinding, I'll also show where the arc of the foot is going to be. I'll put it on that side. There's the arc on that side. I do it on the inside as well. Because when I do my feet, sometimes I'll grind this off with a grinder, my Dremel or a burr bit in my drill, and other times, and then I'll get it kind of close. But sometimes when I've done that with a burr tool, I'm trying to get this, and I get up on this edge, and then it walks its way up, and I go right across the bottom of my foot, and I do a little bit of damage. So I try to. But sometimes I'll do that, take it down to maybe 1/8 of an inch from where the width of my foot is going to be. And then I take it over to my spindle sander. And then on my spindle sander, so.
We don't have one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something I could use as an example. There's my spindle sander, here's my spindle turning, going up and down, and then I can just go in and I can look. And the reason why I put the marks on the inside, as well as for the curvature, as well as the outside, is because when it's this way, I can't see the outside to see where the ring is. So I try to make sure that this line and this one are the same depth on each side, so that I can look at this way and I can see this mark here, and then I can just sand it down. I can go zip, bring it, sand it around to that point, skip over. I did do that once. I sanded the foot off because I didn't mark it well enough. Move over, so I can, we'll say this is the sander, so I can go in, come around to there, go around, come over.
What are you starting with at that point on the spindle sander?
For grit,
Yeah.
whatever's on it.
I would think it'd be
Whatever
81.
happens to be on it at the time. Because I'm not using the spindle sander to get it down to finished sanding smooth. Okay, because you're going on this, even on a spindle sander, you're still going to get some marks, some sanding marks from that because of the nature of it. I guess unless you're maybe running, 300 or 400 grit on it, but I don't. And I figure I'm going to do a finish touch up with one of the sanding discs on my drill, or either on my drill or on my angle grinder. That way I can kind of finish it, because the other aspect of putting this line around the outside, not only so that when you're measuring your depth or when you're hollowing it out, is when I'm making the feet, I've got that line to go by, knowing that's how deep I want. I'm looking at that's how deep I want this that's going to be taken away to go. And I want to make sure it's even on all three sides. So I've got a line around this perimeter that I can use as my guide, both on the inside and on the outside, and I can go. And I can like this one's kind of been left with just a little bit of the lip right here, or I can take it down flat, flush. The other thing that's interesting and neat that you can do when you're doing this to make the feet is I can make this a geometric pattern, because on this one, this surface was sanded flat like the bottom. Okay, so the ring, this ring is pretty evenly spaced, except where it gets narrow as the foot narrows. This ring around this is pretty much even because it's flat. But I can make it a crescent, because all you have to do is, instead of sanding it flat, if I sand that on an angle instead of flat this way, if I put it on an angle, it's going to make the middle of it wider than here. So now I've got a crescent. So I can actually get in it. And that was, again, just a kind of discovery by accident, because I was doing one of my earliest ones and went, oh, wait a second, that's cool, because just really made the bottom geometric in design and something that I can play with, or what look do I want for the bottom, instead of just round with a depression like you get with the recess. So I guess you could say I'm not a recess kind of. I really don't like recesses, because I think you have more options for artistic nature of what the bottom looks like.
Well, when you're putting feet, yeah.
Yeah, and I also, this, when I was, and some of this you can also do when this is still up here on the lathe. This one, depending upon the size of it, it wouldn't fit on because I started, when I first made this, I had a smaller lathe, didn't have as much distance, so it wouldn't fit. If I was doing it, marking anything on here, it wouldn't fit. So I simply made a shorter one that would fit, that I could figure out. And that also allowed me to play with going, okay, when I was figuring out where my feet, how much on the side to take off, as I'm trying to figure out where this is going to be, I can play with it and go, okay, I want the foot to be in line with here, so do I need to take a little bit more off, a little bit less? I can't take less off once it's gone. Put it back on. It would help me decide how much of the outside shape I wanted in order to get the desired outlook in the end. Knowing where, because I was able to kind of figure out where my feet were going to be while I was still in the process. I think that's it.
All right, see some feet.
I'm actually trying to imagine going in with an angle grinder, because it occurs to me that that's kind of a heavy tool and kind of a powerful tool.
Okay.
Right.
Stand by.
That's why
Stand by.
I've done it with my Dremel, with a burr tool in my drill, and I only use it as because that's where, if I'm making feet that are this tall, I'm trying to take all that off with my spindle sander. I was finding that I was burning the spindle sander, and depending upon the wood, sometimes I was burning out and filling up the spindle sander and wearing it out. So it's like, why am I doing this sanding when I could take it out a lot faster, just so I'm not doing as much sanding on the spindle.
So, I don't have spindle sander. What I do have.
Wait a second. Which round are you going? Which round am I going?
So I was working on some walking sticks, and I was using a draw knife and trying to price these things out in a $50 category. I was spending 2 hours of sweat with a draw knife. I said, there's gotta be a better way, so there's all sorts of sanding discs, all sorts of ideas. Then I went on Amazon, I found this puppy. This studded wheel will take off wood in seriously quick fashion. And when I did the walking sticks, I said, geez, I wonder if I could do feet with this, because literally,
So, well, what do you call this sucker?
I don't know, I call it heavy duty studded.
I've seen them,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the same one, but I've seen them labeled
Oh.
as wood carving,
It was $11.99.
wood carving discs.
It was $11.99 on Amazon. Just a blade, yeah. And it's a regular harbor freight or I think it's harbor freight. I'm not sure. But, so what I did was, and I've only done this a couple of times, and we didn't have a demo plan. I called Chris and I said, geez, I bet you I could probably put some feet on. I did 2 so far, 2 bowls, and I have a jaw horse at home, which is a lot easier than this. But I figured with this, I could just clamp this to the lathe, I think. And
Instead of using me as a guinea pig.
instead of Chris holding it, which I'm sure is perfectly safe.
Got a second clamp on that side.
Yeah, I mean, I put it in my jaw horse in literally seconds. I mean, I don't know where the shavings are gonna go, but, so with this being so aggressive, it's all about extremely light touch. And then, once I start, I'll figure out the grain direction. When you're using this, I mean, this thing is serious, so if you go the wrong way, it'll chatter and rip the wood. And you go the right way, it almost gives you a sandable finish. So, and I don't know which way is which, but you find out. So there's going in that direction, which is quite a smooth finish. And so what he was doing with his spindle sander, being able to watch these lines, a little tricky with this puppy, but what I did was I'll hollow out the bulk of it, then I'll take on the sanding disc on my drill and get a little delicate at that point.
I've got a sine angle grinder that's got a sanding disc on it, and I've used that.
Yep. So yeah, so now the balance of that can now easily be managed. I mean, I'm sure I can get a lot closer. I just wanted to show you that, so what Chris is saying now, you've got these 3, now you can be as creative as you want. I can get them a lot closer than that.
But that's gonna save, that alone could save 20 to 30 minutes
Versus
And,
spindle sander.
doing it entirely with a spindle sander.
Right.
Right.
But so now if you had a spindle sander, now you're dressing it up.
Yeah, I
Right.
just dress it up if I want to say, if I want to get it down to my line on the outside or the inside, depending upon if I want to have a lip on the inside or the outside.
But what I did, so I'd switch over to my right angle drill with 120 grit and start on your lines and just carefully bring them down, and then even bring them down with a hand file or, any other way that you can see what you're doing. But this little sucker takes some wood up.
And you were saying that you used that to put crescents along in between the legs?
What's that?
Were you saying that you used the angle grinder?
No,
Well,
not this, not this.
You can,
angle.
no. In fact, you can actually kind of see it on this one. I don't know if you can see it on there, but on this foot here, this side is where he's grinding it down. This is flat.
Right.
Okay. So this outer edge of that ring is in line with this.
Right.
That ring, that circle that we put. But this one he got a little bit this way, and now you can see how from the inside to here, this is going like this. It's all the way out to here and then comes back in. So this one is actually now a crescent.
Okay.
Compared to this one, which this is sanded flat. This is just going to be, or with, even if this was with a lip, because he got down a little bit too far to leave a raised curve, if you will, like on mine. You can take it flat, just depends upon what look you want. But this side, you can see, as you look closely, this one and this one, that's right at that outer, that drawn ring. This one's right at the ring. But this one, because it went past it, and you can now see how this is making a crescent. If you make them all three, if you do that intentionally, it's just, you look at it and go, it's a geometric pattern.
Oh yeah, no, I got that. And the idea is to keep the crescent within the ring wall, yes?
Well, it depends upon wherever you want it. No, it doesn't have to stay in the ring wall. You're not going to get the crescent unless you go out of that.
Okay, so you're doing a little concavity into what we would consider the exterior of the bowl.
Exterior.
Right.
Yeah, because you're going, when we were doing this, just so we had a line to use,
Right.
we went towards the outside or up towards here. And that's how you get the crescent.
But on mine, at this point, I got it in the jaw horse, and I can break out the disc sander and really pay attention.
Right.
That grinder, I mean, you're just ripping wood.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a cherry burl that I started. I tried. It was so dry. The bowl gouge did absolutely nothing. It was like carving a rock.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna mount it in the jaw horse and hit it with
And
that.
that's why sometimes the
just
spindle
hollow it out.
sander is just, you can
Right.
sit there and you're gonna just end up burning the wood instead of sanding it away. And that's where doing it with something like this or a burr tool to get most of it out. So now you're just left with doing the finish sanding.
And if you're good with a Dremel, now you take a Dremel to that with a smooth stone, you could put those feet perfect.
Yeah.
Now you got the bulk of it out, but that wheel was $11.99 on Amazon. So, and as long as you don't grind metal with it, looks like it's gonna last forever.
Yeah, that would work really good for my mirrors. When I want to contour the outside.
Yeah, right?
With a,
Yeah, I mean,
I make hollow log slice mirrors. And instead of just having a flat surface on the slice of the log, some of them I make it undulating as it goes around the perimeter. And I just do it with my angle grinder with a sanding disc to get it basic until I then go to my orbital sander and do the fine sanding on it. But that would work even a lot faster than my
some of
sanding.
the. So when I came up with this idea, they had discs, these here, from $11 up to about $70, and I didn't really know the difference, so I got the $11 one to try. And I would never spend $50 after.
That's probably a little bit safer. What I picked up at the time before I saw these carving discs for these is they'll go on an angle grinder like this. It's a miniature chainsaw.
Oh, I have one. I'm afraid of it.
It's a ring, and it is a chainsaw type chain and teeth.
I have that
to go on that.
Scary as
I've
hell.
got, yeah,
Scary as
you
hell.
wanna talk about really taking wood away quick,
Yeah.
just be careful when you go to, if you go to set it down.
You ever used one of those?
Huh?
Have you ever used? one?
Yeah,
Must take it on so rapidly.
it does.
I have one.
Matter of-
I never put
matter
it
of
on out.
2 or 3 seconds. Yeah. You gotta be, when you're using that chainsaw wheel that goes on there, you gotta be more careful than you do with this.
Yeah.
Cause it'll grab. This doesn't look like it doesn't
Well,
grab.
it does. If you do
If
it
you
wrong,
do it
it'll
wrong.
throw you.
Yeah.
You gotta hold on with both.
I think, I
Same
think
with the
I've seen
chainsaw.
wheels with actually, I don't know if I'm gonna have to use the right term, but with studs that will keep from grabbing. Just little studs as though it's,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I've
But
seen
when they
something
grab,
like that as well.
they'll twist your wrist right off. You know, if you're not holding on it. With what I was just doing, I mean, barely touching the wood, you had extremely light touch.
Yeah.
But if you push down on it, it'll move your wrist and your arm
and you,
yes,
Take off some skin.
it'll be a memorable occasion.
yes.
What kind of wood is this?
Ambrosia maple. Yeah, that'll be a pretty bowl when it's done. And I may keep the feet on or put new, I don't know. I only brought it in for the purpose of the demo, so.
You didn't do a bad job with that.
Well, yeah,
Is
and
that what
again,
they
that's,
call damage
and
with
that-
finish?
yeah,
that's
Right.
not the finish, that's just getting the wood off so that we can
Right.
finish. Now the rest is detailed.
They'll never wobble.
It'll never wobble,
Yeah,
right?
you should do that.
Right.
Use the feet.
Yeah.
Before we went to all the trouble.
Yeah.
I didn't understand way back when you started off, not when you were clamping anything, but you were putting the wood clamps on the outside to seemingly measure something. I couldn't understand what you were
To
doing
make
there.
sure they.
Oh, I needed it, it was too,
It was
when it
too
started out, it was too wide to fit between here, with this all the way open.
Right,
So I needed to just
Trim it down.
trim it down and make it a little bit smaller in diameter to make sure it would fit between
Yeah.
the jaws of this
That
plant.
well, then, for when you got to the later part of
Fairly
it.
dry.
Yeah, just
Really
for
dry.
this part of being able to
It's
hold it
been
in
out
place.
Right, got it, all right.
Because remember, when I do all of it, I do it, I do the outside, I've made the tenon, I completely finished down to finished sanding of the outside, including the ring that's gonna have the feet in it. And then I turn it around, put it in the chuck, hollow it out, finish sanding it, the inside is completely done, the outside is completely done. The only thing that is left to be done is the ring where the feet are gonna be, but even that ring has still been sanded. It's just taking that wood off between the feet. So I then turn it back around, put it in the coal jaws, and then I take the tenon off. Once I know that I'm done, I'll be done with one, because once I take the tenon off, it's done on the lathe. So then I take the tenon off.
The tenon off from the interior or the exterior?
Exterior,
Okay,
because the
there's
interior
no-
was, remember,
no
it was put
tenon on
in the
the
tenon, it was
inside.
using the tenon, it was put on, so the inside was completely hollowed out.
Okay.
There's no big, long tenon inside, it's
Right.
just completely hollowed out.
We skipped that hollowing process today.
Got it.
Just for
So we
time.
could, so we could show you the feet, not the hollowing. So, yeah.
And then I've got it in the coal jaws. Now I can take, and even when I've got it in the coal jaws, I've still had stuff come out of those coal jaws, depending upon what the outside rim shape of the bowl is. So I still normally do that between centers.
But this is a great feature
'cause I'll
for
just
green wood though.
I've got a piece of foam rubber.
Won't,
I've got a piece of foam rubber that I leave the chuck in place. I put the foam rubber on, put the bowl.
over.
I put the foam rubber on there, put the bowl on there, put the tailstock in, and then I start taking off the tenon. This isn't necessarily going to be perfectly, unless I really spend a lot of time trying to make sure that this isn't like this. I get it for the most part. And then I take off the tenon. I mean, I get all the way down to where I've got an 1/8 of an inch left with the, you know, the end of the tailstock sitting out here. I've got maybe an 1/8 of an inch. And then I can take the tailstock away, take that off. And then this will be uneven. Won't be perfectly flat unless this is perfectly, you know, this way. But then now, once it's at this point in the cold jaws, sometimes what I'll do is depend upon the shape. And I've used this in the cold jaws. This was turned. I took the tenon off with this bowl with this in cold jaws. I simply took I was going to do that as a minor demo sometime, just for use of a different way that you might not think about with the cold jaws, because this is different from this, the measurement. So I take it and go, okay, put the cold jaws on, bring the jaws in to where I get maybe 2 teeth here lining up and 2 teeth here in the same circular ring. And over here, the ones over on this side and this side might not actually even be in contact with the wood. Or, depending upon just how things work out, I put them in a different circular diameter ring, because this is, you know, one side, and then I just kind of play with it until I can get the teeth the bumpers as well as I can, get it as centered as I can. And then I've got a big long strap that's got it's a Velcro. I mean, it's like about a 6 or 7 foot long Velcro strap. And I just take it and around between the space between the jaws of the cold jaw, I can take it, bring it out, come across this corner, wrap it around, come across this corner, come across all 4 corners to make sure it doesn't pop out of the bumpers from and pop out this way. And then I can go ahead and leave it on there. The tenon's gone, take the tailstock away. Now I just need to kind of finish flattening the surface out, and I just do that with a sanding disc in my drill. And I can still turn. I can turn this on, and it's not going to come off because I've got the jaws clamping it, and I've got straps going across the
How
corner.
does it show it's clamped? How can you clamp it?
It's cold jaws is
Cold
what
jaws,
he's
you gotta-
talking about.
Cold jaws are. You know what cold jaws are?
Thank
Cold
you, I
jaws
didn't want to
are.
admit that.
Yeah, I don't,
I think I can come up with a way to.
just Google cold jaws on there. It'd be easier if you had the picture.
Spelling.
It's a big flat.
Cold jaws, it's a
COLE.
big flat thing.
Okay.
Instead of this jaw right here, you've got this big flat thing that comes out and it sticks out like this.
Okay.
And just like how this has got concentric rings in it,
Okay.
the cold, you've got 4 of them with concentric rings, and they've got holes, and you put the little rubber bumpers into the holes,
Right.
and then you close up
Oh, I get it.
the chuck.
It works, but it's not the safest.
You're
But
not
it
supposed,
does work.
you're not supposed, like mine say, do not use above 600 RPM.
It's not.
So you're
made
not
for-
really, it's not really meant for doing actual turning, hollowing, shaping. It's for more your finish,
detail work.
detail work, sanding.
Yeah, if you're gonna clean the bottom of the bowl safely, that's fine. But again, if you're turning green wood and you don't do it right then and there, the next day you put that in the cold jars, then it's not gonna be round anyway.
Well, I've done green stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah,
and
no, I
I
have,
just don't
but,
take it off.
right,
If it's in the chuck, I leave it on the chuck I'll leave it overnight, come back to a couple of days later. I just take, I go to BJ's and I get the big, when you buy the couple of bags of chips that are 2 bags of chips for $9 or whatever it is. They're big enough bags. And I keep a couple of them in my shop. If I'm stopping work on something, if it's dry, if I know it's dry, no, I don't worry about it. If I know that it is damp, green wood to some degree, I just take that plastic bag, put it over the top, kind of wrap it up and take the top of the plastic bag, just wrap it around right here. And now it's not gonna dry out until I take the bag off again. And I'm not gonna have to worry about trying to, how to get it recentered on the chuck or in the coal jaws now that it's moved because it dried. Well, it dried in place. You might have to tighten up the chuck a little bit, but in the plastic bag, it doesn't dry out at all.
Yeah. Or wrap it in plastic. That's
Yeah.
what I shrink wrap it. What I do, just wrap it.
Well, thank you.
Cool.
Okay.
Any
Thank you.
any other questions on feet or anything? Doesn't really matter what the
Not so
question
much
is.
feet, but all right, so I know you start off with apple from a grove. How long, as far as I know, I mean, you've got every goddamn thing under the sun. As far as I know, you don't have a kiln. How long do you leave your wood before you feel it's dry?
I go by, there's no time. I
Okay,
don't use time. I weigh it. I've got a kitchen scale. Now, if it's green, one of these, I think this is it's been covered on occasion. One of the things I learned from Roland several years back was working with something that was really green. You get it turned down, you get it shaped, turned down, and you can start the drying process by you take the bowl, get it wet, make sure it's wet because it's drying out. The outside is drying as you're turning. It's all set, it's all done, it's all shaped, it's sanded. You take it up into the kitchen, put it under the faucet, get it nice and wet, put it on a plate or some kind of a dish or bowl that'll in the microwave, fill it up to the rim with water, and then microwave it for 5 minutes.
all the water will go away in
No,
5 minutes?
no.
No.
Just microwave it for 5 minutes. Okay? Pull it out, empty the water out, let it cool down. Once it's cool, same process. Put it under the faucet, wet it all down, put it on your plate, bowl filled up to the rim with water, microwave it for 4 minutes. Pull it out, empty it, let it cool. Do that. I do 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At that point, after 30 seconds, once I get down to the minute point, I'm not filling it with water anymore. I might wet it, but if I get down to less than a minute, I'm just watching. I don't want to get it too hot. So after a minute of using water, I get to 30 seconds. Now I'm not using water anymore at all. And now I'm working to actually dry it. At that first stuff, what you're doing is trying to get the moisture out of the cells. If I'm remembering this right, you're getting the moisture out of the cells in the wood. After that, you're trying to get the moisture out from between the cells of the wood. It's the moisture in the cells that as it comes out that's going to cause those cells to collapse, and that's the shrinkage. So once it's down to, I'm doing 30 seconds.
Well, at 5 minutes, won't it be boiling the water?
I don't know. I've never watched. Never had a problem. I've never had a problem with
And
it.
you're trying to dry the wood by
You're trying to get the wood, the moisture inside the cells, inside the wood
Right.
to come out. But I'm keeping the outside wet. So the outside's not shrinking.
So the moisture is coming from the outside of the bowl.
The moisture, because I've wet the outside of the bowl and this is full of water, it's not drying out to the point where it's shrinking, causing it to crack. So this is a lesson that Roland gave many years ago about, I don't know whether he still does it or not.
No more. He's got a new trick. Where do you hear that one?
Okay.
But I will tell you
That was-
from my experience, if you turn the bowl less than a half an inch thickness, 2 to 3 weeks typically will dry most wood. 2 to 3 weeks indoors. 2 to 3 weeks.
My big thing is depending on how soon am I wanting to get this done and dry.
Well, if
So
you-
now I've got it, okay, I'm doing 30-second blasts for cooling or for drying. I weigh it on my kitchen scale, weigh it, log it. I keep just a piece of paper and I log the date that I started, and not necessary, but it's 1 pound, 10 ounce, 10.5 ounces.
Is this before you start the microwave process?
Well, after I'm ready, once I'm down to I don't worry about it. When this is still completely green and I'm doing the full water immersion thing,
Yeah,
no, you don't worry about the weight. Because
okay,
you're not trying to dry it at that point.
okay,
You're trying to force the water in the cells out of the cells.
right.
Not out of the wood. So once I'm down to my 30-second intervals, now I'm trying to dry it. And that's when I say I'm gonna weigh it. And usually I have found that oftentimes it will lose about a third of its weight. You start out at 1 pound 2 ounces, or 1 pound, I could say 1 pound 10 ounces. By the time you dry, it might be down to less than a pound. That's how much water it's holding. So you weigh it and log it. It's 1 pound 10 point, it's 1.10.50 ounces. I'll run it a couple of times and I microwave for 30 seconds, pull it out, let it cool. Once it's cool, throw it back in, microwave it for 30 seconds, pull it out, let it cool. I always wait till it's cool before I put it back in. And then depending upon how wet it was, I knew what it was when I started. I might wait for a day or two before I start really keeping that running log. Because then the next time you can do it the first time and weigh it, and now instead of 1.10.5, it might be 1.10.2, 1.10.1. And then you just keep doing that and I do it until I get it down to it no longer changes. I've just microwaved it for 30 seconds. I let it cool off. I've waited an hour or two and I weigh it and it's still at 1.1.75. I microwave it. It doesn't change. I pull it out. I let it cool for an hour or two. I check the weight. It hasn't changed.
It's interesting. After it stops losing weight,
It'll gain.
And like the next day you weigh it again and it's gained weight.
Right. That's when I know that it's dry because it's at equilibrium at this point now. Because you keep going until if you're losing weight, keep going. You wait until it stops. You keep going until it stops losing weight. Because remember, the humidity in the air. If you got a rainstorm coming, the humidity is higher. So all of a sudden, next thing I know, I weigh it and it's gone up by 0.05 or 0.1. Oh, it's gone up. So it sucked in moisture out of the air. I microwave it, drop it back down by 0.1, 0.15, pull it out, let it sit. Sometimes I've had to do that. It's gained. I'm thinking it's dry. I put it back in, and then all of a sudden it continues to drop after that.
Get rid of the extra moisture.
Yeah, because there was some moisture inside that found its way to the outside. This is the only thing I can think of. But I've had it that then finally is able to get out. But I've had it stop, fluctuate back and forth, and then drop even lower than it was at first. And then I'll play with it for a day or over the course of a day or a couple of days until it's consistent. I can do it and it gains.
As soon as I see
And
it,
all right, so-
Just a tiny bit. And at that point, I'm like, it's dry enough because it's at equilibrium. It's an equilibrium moisture content.
So just to make sure I've got this right, you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're not necessarily going to keep on banging it 30 seconds on that day. You do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then maybe you come back another day or a couple of days later, and you're blasting it in 30-second intervals.
Yeah, once
cool off
I've done my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 full of water,
Yeah.
I can go straight into doing the 30-second blasts for drying.
Okay.
I can go straight into it. It depends on how much time I want to sit there, and it's going to take it's gonna take 30 minutes to an hour to cool off between blasts. So I'm doing something, whatever, and I come back, this is cool. It's ready for another blast. Just depends upon how quickly I trying to dry this so I can get it done
Right.
and start putting finish on it.
Otherwise, just wait.
Otherwise, just
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
if you got plenty of other stuff to work on, just set it aside and
Get back to
you can still check it, but by forcing that heating it up now, and so I'm going, well, is it drying or not? Is there still moisture? You can see the results faster.
Cool, thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Then just a reminder, if anybody's interested in fine furnishings, let me know.
Nice job, Chris. Thank you.
When are dues due?
January.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought I got a message that it needed to happen this month.
Talk with